Welcome to Illuminati Silver. We tell you the truth about silver. Today is Friday the 30th of August 2019, and we're providing our gold and silver price prediction for the end of this year in sterling terms and the reasons behind our projections. Yesterday, we published our gold and silver price forecast for 2019 in US dollar terms. We've placed a link to that video in the description box below. Now, in that video, we pointed out that there was indeed potential for both gold and silver to rise in US dollar terms to the end of 2019, even though we have already seen a 19% growth in each of them since the 1st of January. The reasons given for this growth are many, but the key ones include: we have the bond markets sending a signal that the US and many Western countries are moving towards a recession. The inverted yield curve, announced last week, which we also produced a video for, is often a strong indicator of that happening. And we now have both the 2-year and 10-year bonds with an inverted yield curve. Strong demand for gold, particularly by emerging markets and especially their central banks. Brexit uncertainties in the UK and their impact, the uncertainties' impact on the rest of Europe. Italian political and economic difficulties, issues with Iran, China, US trade war, perhaps one of the major ones for the moment, potential US and European tariffs, Fed changing course, reducing interest rates, but will eventually face problems as the amount they can reduce rates by are relatively limited, although there is room for a number of very small rate reductions. Portfolio managers are readdressing their strategic asset allocations, and some are moving in favor of gold, and other investors are moving in favor of silver too. Mixed financial results from major companies and volatility of stock indices from what has been quite recently all-time highs. And the rather unique way President Trump negotiates causes a degree of destabilization amongst markets. Now, our predictions for gold and silver in US dollar terms for 2019 are highs between $1,600 and $1,700 for gold, and for silver between $19.50 and $21. At the year end, we're expecting gold to fall back to somewhere between $15.50 and $1,600, and silver to somewhere between $18 and $19, thereby giving gold and silver annual increases of between 23 to 24%. Very commendable indeed. But what about in sterling terms, we've been asked, therefore the purpose of this video. Well, in sterling terms, gold has already risen from £1,005 from its 31st of December close to the current £1,253, a gain of almost 25% already. And silver has risen, again from the 31st of December close, from £12.11 to its current price of £15.11, another gain of almost 25%. This compares with a gain in US dollar terms of 19%. Now, the prime reason for this differential, and it does not take a genius to calculate it, is the devaluation of sterling against the dollar. Now, when at the start of the year there were $1.28 to the pound, today there are 1.21 US dollars to the pound. Yes, a fall, you've guessed it, of around 5.5%. Thus the differential, which represents that difference in the rise in gold and silver in dollar terms compared with the rise in sterling terms. Now, if you're thinking ahead, you will now no doubt be thinking, okay, this is simple. All we have to do is load 5.5% to the Illuminati Silver's price prediction in gold and silver in dollar terms, and voila, you have their sterling prediction. Good thinking, but not so fast. That calculation would be correct if one assumes the status quo is maintained and the parity between sterling and the dollar remains unchanged. The problem is, of course, sterling versus the dollar is likely to move either up or down over the next 4 months. The question is, in which direction? Now this is where we have to convert our hats from those of being precious metal analysts to foreign currency analysts. Between now and the end of 2019, there is one definitive political action to be concluded in the United Kingdom, and that is Brexit on the 31st of October. We shall either have a hard Brexit, a negotiated Brexit, or, less likely but possible, no Brexit at all. And the second is a potential general election or change of government either before the 31st of October or shortly after the 31st of October if Brexit occurs. Now, we won't go into the political shenanigans which are currently underway, re a change of government, but suffice to say, we are still facing the prospect of additional turmoil in the United Kingdom and a serious potential of a hard Brexit, which most, not all, but most economic experts agree short-term will be detrimental to sterling and the UK economy. So we have to edge our bets here and make a best-case scenario assessment. It is our assessment that between now and the end of the year, we could see sterling fall as low as $1.15 to the pound, which would mean that if we believe silver is, say, $19 at the end of the year, it would rise in sterling terms to £16.52 an ounce from its current £15.11. Another 9% gain. And gold, if it is $1,600, if we got that forecast right, will rise in sterling terms to £1,391 from its current £1,253. So in other words, another £140 an ounce. Now, of course, we are assuming we have got our dollar price forecasts correct. If we've understated them, then these figures, of course, change higher and vice versa. Now, if there is no Brexit, which there is a approximate probability factor of 15%, or a better negotiated Brexit is agreed, of which there's a 40% probability factor, then sterling may actually gain some strength against the US dollar, especially if the Fed reduces rates as well. But even then, we find it difficult to see sterling advance beyond $1.25 to the pound, at least this year. And assuming that does happen, then we shall see silver prices rise from the current £15.11 to just £15.20, and gold to rise from its current £1,253 to just £1,280. These are our annual closing price projections, remember. Now, in between now and then, it would not be at all unreasonable to see gold potentially hit £1,470, a £220 an ounce rise, and silver hit £18.26, a rise of £3.15. But this is not where we assess they will end up at the end of the year. So in a nutshell, we still foresee higher prices ahead in sterling terms, with a maximum potential of gold rising by another just over £200 an ounce, but ending the year either similar to current levels or up £140 from where we are today, and silver rising potentially just upwards of £3 an ounce, but again ending the year just above current levels or £1.50 an ounce higher than today. Now, of course, we add a caveat to this assessment. No one can predict with 100% accuracy of what will happen, simply because there are too many variables affecting these prices, not least of which include human error, greed, mistakes by politicians, bankers, and economists. There are also black swans lurking, which include Iran, North Korea, and of course the elephant in the room, if you can have an elephant being a black swan, not sure, China. We would like to think, however, that we have taken into account what would be deemed reasonable, and now we'll just wait and see how events unfold. But you can rest assured that if we encounter situations where events change either for the better or for the worse, you can rely on us to notify you promptly. And at the very least, we'll give you a weekly guide in our weekly update, usually published on Saturday or occasionally on Sunday. Now, thank you for listening, and do share your own views of where you foresee prices ending up this year. We are aware that there were a number of questions that haven't been answered on the previous video, and we may very well produce another video to answer those very questions. So please do not think you have been ignored. A final reminder for those of you considering taking advantage of our 1-month half-price offer in joining our inner sanctum, you have just 24 hours left to do so. We've placed a link in the description box below. We hope you have found this video interesting and informative, and if so, please give it a thumbs up and share it on social media. Please ensure that you have subscribed to our channel and press the bell sign so that you are notified of any future videos. Also, kindly visit our website at illuminatisilver.com, and if you haven't already done so, please subscribe either as a free or paying member for regular email updates and offers. Disclaimer: Illuminati Silver owners come from a background of banking, international wealth management and economics. Having now retired from these worlds, we are not qualified to give investment advice. Therefore, this and other productions must not be deemed to be giving such advice and merely represent the personal views of its owners.